Hello friends and welcome to my YouTube channel Simply Stocks, and today I'm going to talk about Bajaj Finance and when to buy this share. There have been a lot of requests that have come in with respect to when to buy this share because it has run up something like 10x in the last 4 or 5 years, and whether one should invest at a market cap of more than 1 lakh crore or close to 2 lakh crores and all that. So let's understand all this. Let's get started. First of all, a disclaimer that this is not a stock recommendation. People taking any position into any share that I talk about should do that with their own due diligence and research, and I'm not in favor or against any company that I talk about. Bajaj Finance was established in around 2007, and I remember when I went to the US for an MBA around 2010-11 time. I had a insurance from Bajaj Finance, which was a health insurance, along with other sort of insurance for flight and for travel. And what at that point of time they were doing was a tie-up with Allianz, and they had other health insurance and other policies going on, and that was their biggest asset at that point of time. They were not very big in consumer insurance or consumer financing, but over the last 4 years they have built a lot of reputation in consumer financing, especially between 2012 and 15. They started financing autos, started financing televisions, you can say watches if you want to buy an Apple Watch, laptops, etc., and so on and so forth. So they tapped that the market which was untapped by the insurance companies, and insurance companies always looked at big ticket consumption things like housing or large autos, or of that sort of consumer, you can say CVs, which are commercial vehicles, etc. So they ignored this space, which had probably low ticket sizes of around 10,000, 20,000 rupees products, or 50,000 rupees products that people would like to buy and they were aspirant to buy during the last decade or so. And Bajaj Finance tapped into this market. So initially they had a major business of travel insurance, as I explained, but they have now diversified into consumer insurance. uh, uh, a number of consumer insurance branches for Bajaj Finance have been opened up, and they have their employee in the, you can say, showroom of the companies where the consumer products are being sold. So if there's an Apple phone that is being sold, there's a Bajaj Finance person who is ready to give you loan straight away and you can buy the phone straight away. Similar with other products in diversified, you can say, showrooms like Chroma, etc. You have Bajaj Finance person there to give you loan straight away so that you can take the product home immediately. Uh, it is one of the biggest brand in this space, and it has gone up something like 10 times over the last 4 years or so. So if you look at the sales of Bajaj Finance, it has grown 27% year on year, even in these times of depression, even in these times of a lot of turmoil in the Indian economy. The growth of Bajaj Finance has been phenomenal in terms of sales and profitability. The profitability has swelled by 66%, and normally the profitability has been growing by around 30 to 40% year on year, but it has been helped by lower taxes that are being put by the government. So the tax rate has been reduced by the government on such companies, and that has helped Bajaj Finance to put up a performance of this sort. The return on equity is pretty good at 22%, and the profit margins or the operating profit margins above 30%, which is excellent. Yes, the company has a lot of debt, but this is because the company is into financing, so they would have a lot of short-term, long-term debts on their books. So nothing too alarming, although the industry itself is debt-laden. So let's understand why the euphoria for this business. This has also come into the bracket of, say, an Aisha Motors or a Page Industry, etc., because of its moat and leadership. But the kind of market that Bajaj Finance has tapped, this has become more or less a company which is consumer oriented rather than financing, and they are giving, you can say, loans to middle income group. People who are salaried employees, and there's very little chance that the loans would backfire and you would not get the loan back, or the loans would turn bad. Probably 1 to 2% of the loans do turn bad, and you have to take the vehicle, means Bajaj Finance would have to take the vehicle back. But if we consider what has happened with the DHFL or other housing finance companies or other financing companies which have leased out to corporates, this is a much better business to be into, and this is a much better business to invest into for a longer period of time, because they are lending their products or lending money to consumers who are salaried employees. The return ratios has been exceptional, and it has continued to be exceptional over the last 8 to 10 over the last, you say, 16 to 20 quarters, and not just 2 3 quarters. The management is top class and have very good clarity on how the business would go. And I remember in 2016 as well as in early part of 2018, they had specified that the growth rate might not remain the same and the growth rate would come down. The stock fell at that point of time about 20-25%, but eventually it recovered again because the management was, I would say, pessimistic in their approach, and gave the bear case scenario, and the results were quite exceptional even after that. So very good clarity by the management. The longevity of business is perennial because of the kind of business that they are into, as I explained. And add to that, we have seen that in today's environment of business and the way the market is going, the quality is selling at a premium. So we have seen like how DMart, etc., and other shares are trading at 90, 100 times of their EPS, and similar with other mega caps in the consumer sector. Similar with the Bajaj Finance at the moment is selling at around 50, 60 times earnings, just like a consumer company. And that is why I made this video, in order to make you understand as to what could be the right price to get into Bajaj Finance, depending on the future numbers that could come in. So if we do the valuation assessment for the share, the stock is currently trading at a PE of 55 based on the earnings till now, which is halfway to FY20. The bear case PE, which is interesting, in 2016 when the market and the small cap index, mid cap index fell big time, we had a bear case scenario in which on the basis of FY16 numbers, the stock was trading at around 10 times or so, and that was the time to buy. So the stock started moving in 2015 but fell big time in 16, and that was the time to really grab the stock by the scruff of the neck and hold on to it. And these are the people who made big money, who bought this share at around 700-800 rupees. At that point of time they made 5x already in just 3 years. And you will never see that kind of valuation again. What I've understood over the last 4 years, and did some calculation, is around 38, 39 times is a bear case scenario at this point of time if the market falls. But again, the FY20 earnings would be bigger than FY19 or a halfway through FY20. So the full year FY20 earnings could be having an EPS close to 100 rupees. In that regard, the target comes out to be 3800. So you have to take into consideration what could be the earnings in the next 2 quarters, and only then you will arrive at a price, because you need a yearly earning estimate in order to come to a price level. So this stock is not very expensive considering the earnings that are expected to come in over the next 2 quarters, that is the December quarter and the March quarter. So if the EPS is somewhere around 9500 rupees, then buy the share around 3800 or so. So that's a 10% decline from current levels. So anything around 3800 to 3500 levels would augur well for you to buy the share. Any 10-15% dip from current levels would be very good to buy the shares. We see that the stock could go to 5500 plus levels by end of 2020 or early 21. So there's still scope for 30-35% upside in the stock. Probably buy at a 10-15% decline whenever it comes, even if it comes from 4500 to 4000, then you buy into it. Don't buy at the highs, because then you will make less money and you'll be having headache as to you have bought a very good company but at a very expensive price. If you look at the technicals of the stock, then there is a strong support around the 34-3500 levels, and that's why I said around 3500, 3600. Go ahead and buy, because there's very strong support around 3400 levels, and I do not see that being breached, especially when the numbers would remain good, and I don't see the next 2 quarters would be so much of a trouble for the numbers to come in. If you look at the 3 month chart and you look at the support levels, then I think 4000 to 3900 are very good levels of support, and the stock is trading above it. But if the market falls big time, the stocks that have run up a lot would fall for sure. So the stock, so in that regard, we could see levels below 3950. So one needs to take that into consideration. The stock has already run up 2.5 times since the lows of 2018, when the stock fell 20 odd percent after the commentary of the management that the numbers might not be that good, the margins might shrink in the coming quarters. The stock fell, and that was the time to buy again. The stock fell to around 1800 from around 2200, something of that sort. It has become 2.5 times from that, around actually 1600 from around 2100. So that was a big fall in that respect. So it has already run up 2.5 times in the last couple of years. That has been the move in Bajaj Finance, and that's why everybody is talking about it. Easily can correct 10 to 12%. So kindly take that into consideration. And I believe that above 4400, we could see a huge breakout in the stock. So take that into consideration as well when you invest, that on a technical basis above 4400, 4450, we could see a major breakout of 20-25% in the stock. So you can buy even at these levels, probably 10-15% of your total holding that you want to buy, and buy on a 10-15% decline and keep on buying around those levels. That would be a prudent strategy. So what needs to be done? Buy close to 4000, any 3-4% decline, and then this is a market leader. You can buy at dips to 3500, 3600 as well. Look for massive falls. If falls become extremely massive and there's a crash in the stock market, you could even see 3400 on the stock, and even lower levels. So we don't know what levels would come in. These are all estimates. So any major dip in the stock is a good buying opportunity. You cannot trade such stocks, and this is a good long-term bet, simply because the way the business is and the business model is, and the way they have tapped the middle income group people with their aspirations. So everybody looks for Bajaj Finance insurance when they are buying any kind of consumer product. So that's why this is a good long-term pick. Although it's into financing, and I don't like investing in financing companies, but a couple of companies that come to mind are the HDFC brand and Bajaj Finance for sure. So this was my video on analysis of the valuations of Bajaj Finance. Please like and subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon so that you can get my videos straight away when I post it. Thanks a lot for watching.